The RJA Construction was started in 2010 when, you could hear a pin drop out there in the construction world. You can't outsmart water. You can, but it will always find its way in. I'm a big advocate of trade schools. I don't think going to a 4-year degree is the only path out there. I think for me, nothing has ever come easy. Solving construction-related issues just makes sense for me. Now, this year, we've won Remodeler of the Year. It means leading by example, but also leading with humility.
You're listening to Building Dallas, hosted by Arrington Roofing. With 42 years of roofing North Texas, Arrington Roofing is building a better roof for you.
Hello everybody, welcome to Building Dallas, where we talk about developments in Dallas that are happening from the ground up. Today we have a great guest. His name is Billy Rousseau. He is the owner and founder of RJA Construction LLC, a Dallas firm he started in 2010. They specialize in residential restoration, renovation, additions, and high-end custom homes. A Dallas native and Bishop Lynch alumni, Billy has built RJA into an award-winning shop that partners with the city's top architects and design firms. The company is celebrating its 15th year and named the Modern Luxury Dallas Best Builder in 2023 and a multi-year D-Home Best honoree. His wife, Shonda Rousseau, serves as VP. He's a proud lifelong Dallasite and an avid Texas Rangers fan. Billy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to start giving you the space to tell us who you are and how you kind of got into building in the first place.
Sure. So I went to Texas Tech and got a business degree and, didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that a business degree would lead to a job, and I knew I needed one of those out of college. So anyway, so I started in my major and just realized that, sitting at a desk in an office just wasn't for me, and I wanted to get out. I had a college fraternity brother that was getting ready to move to northern New Mexico, and I went. And once we got up there and got settled, the opportunity presented itself to work for a home builder, and I didn't have any experience in that. I knew I liked to work with my hands, but that became, that really opened my view of construction and building. And so anyway, that was in the year 2000, and I've been in residential construction since.
Wow.
And it just kind of started literally, initially, the builder that I worked for was very disciplined about job site safety, and basically I had to reach these benchmarks before I could pick up the next tool or learn the next thing. So I really did, start from the ground up.
Okay, so that first position in New Mexico, what was that? Were you
essentially like a laborer?
A laborer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you went from business degree,
yeah,
where you were like, I'm going to go start something, I'm going to, be my own boss, right? And then you're working labor on a job.
But bear in mind, my part of my plan when going up there was to be able to ski in the winter, because you've got the Taos Ski Valley 20 miles away, and Angel Fire Ski Resort, and really had taken a liking to fly fishing at the same time.
Oh,
so I knew that the opportunity for me to be up there and work up there, I might not see that again. So I jumped at it, but construction was the vehicle essentially that allowed me to live and work and play up there. Okay. And but I think when I initially started in that capacity, I didn't know where it was going to lead to. I didn't know how much it would get into my blood and be a part of, my story and where I would navigate in life.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so for timeline's sake, so what year was that?
That was the year 2000.
2000. So that was 10 years before you started RJA Construction.
Correct. And then I moved back to Dallas at the end of 2005 and went to work for a childhood friend who was a residential contractor. And just picked up where I left off. I mean, he was building custom homes. We were also doing renovations and additions, and stayed with him until almost about 2009 was kind of a turning point where I was kind of starting to want to do my. I had a business partner. We were doing some purchasing of older real estate that needed to be redeveloped and resold. So I was starting to get my own experience outside of working for him, and all of a sudden it just kind of led me to, I'm going to go ahead and start.
Yeah.
You put that business degree to work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great.
So
back to that first job, was the guy you're working for in New Mexico and then the guy you worked for when you came back to Dallas, did they have the same dedication to expert craftsmanship that you've adopted now?
Yes. As a matter of fact, some of the craftsmanship I saw in northern New Mexico, I see it down here as well, but up there it's different because, those are more, they have to learn every aspect of the building, because when you're building in a mountain town, you don't have access to subcontractors like you do in a big city. So, those builders, they were excellent trim carpenters. They were excellent tile setters. They could texture drywall. They could, you know what I mean? So because they would have to keep their projects going regardless of whether or not they could subcontract out an aspect of the build. So I think in that respect, they had a lot. They may not have been experts in everything, but they had a lot of knowledge in all aspects of the construction. Versus here, you are typically subcontracting most aspects of the build, and then the general contractor has to have all of the knowledge, but not necessarily the know-how. Meaning like I'm sitting here with a tile saw cutting it and setting it, but at least how to build from start to finish. So it was a great learning experience for me. I learned, I was, for one of the builders, I was on their framing crew. For the next builder, who's still probably one of the best known builders in Angel Fire, I started on, they were very dedicated to, they wanted to handle the full foundation in-house. So I essentially started forming and pouring concrete with that builder.
So doing that labor at the beginning, that probably informed a lot of how you do business now. Just knowing the detail that it takes to make something excellent. Right. And I think that, we've seen this delineation from, way back in the day where we talk about how, things were built better back then. And then we see, in the late, 20th century, things start to be fast and quick and not as good quality, to now where it seems like every building video I see is some inspector on a new home just going and poking holes in everything, and it's a disaster. So how did we get from there to where we are now?
How did we get here?
How did we get here?
Well, in my opinion, I think the first major impact was the financial crisis, 2008 really to 2012. And, the RJA Construction was started in 2010 when, it was, you could hear a pin drop out there in the construction world, at least in the residential world, because we'd just gone through the massive foreclosure market. Just everything that happened with the Great Recession. And I saw a lot of construction professionals have to pick up and go find something else to do because the work dried up. And so I think the industry initially lost a lot of talent due to the financial crisis. And I think what you're seeing now is the remaining talent is aging out, the really good talent. And another thing that happened after the financial crisis too, the ones that stayed in the industry, on the other side of that, when things started to get busy, they used to be the ones that were in the field doing the work. Then they immediately became the boss, and then they were having to duplicate themselves or train out in the field. So and every time something's trained, a little bit's lost. At least that's kind of what I see to be. I mean, you never duplicate things perfectly, but I think between that and then just the shortage of labor and how busy things have gotten, I think it's just that's probably why a lot of that skill and craftsmanship has slowly been diluted down from where it was.
Well, and so you touch on something which I would say is apprenticeship. This idea of apprenticeship where there's a foreman who's incredible at what they do, and you have someone that's like, yeah, I'm going to do this for 3-5 years until I'm good enough to do it on my own.
Right.
Now, it's we can't really blame the young people. It's the old people too that aren't taking the time to invest into the young talent, in these finish work and carpentry and building and structural, integrity to make sure things are built to last. So what do you think is a good first step into fixing this problem?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm a big advocate of trade schools. I don't think going to a 4-year degree is the only path out there. And for a lot of people, I mean, also, as expensive as, higher education is getting, I think if you are remotely enjoy how things are put together or working with your hands or things like that, you can actually get that education in that industry either through a trade school and or working at the same time to build those apprenticeship hours or I'm just a big advocate of making a path to a really good career. Because I mean, look, the stigma when I got involved in construction was it's just a construction job, blue collar. You don't need any education, and I've there've been times where I try not to take that personally. I think for the most part, business professionals in general may look down at residential contractors or whatever, but the fact of the matter is, and now as complicated as the designs are getting, as complicated as the homes, I mean, we've kind of, there may not be as much, decorative casework in homes now than there used to be, but you're trading one for the other. Now there's a lot of steel in houses and you're trading one element of complication for another. But I do agree that that we do have a skilled labor shortage. And I do think there needs to be a better pathway to create, to bridge that gap.
Yeah. And then, we're also kind of beholden to the market and the demands of the consumer.
Right.
I mean, they want something fast. They want it now. They want to move to Texas. And so then you have, how can you blame someone for going, all right, let's go build a shell, let's just get them in here.
6 months.
Get
it in, get it done, and get it sold.
Yeah, and it's sad because, all these communities that we're developing, I mean, we're here in North Oak Cliff, and there's, all these apartment complexes. I mean, there's, you have these, kind of prefab, well, not quite prefab, but, real quick stick custom homes, air quotes, that are just, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, custom homes.
I know what you mean.
That are going to fall apart in 20 years. And then what? I mean, we tear down. And so what does that do to the community as a whole when in 20 years the residences are going to be, those structures are going to start to deteriorate. All the retail that's been built for that community, is it going to deteriorate at the same time? I mean, probably not. It's probably going to last a little bit longer, right? They're maybe using some steel. They're just using 2x4s. And so I'm curious to see what this cycle is going to look like once these new, custom homes start falling off, start falling apart.
Well, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why our firm does so much renovation addition is I personally love Tudors. I love old homes. I love the way they're
Yeah.
built. I
Yeah.
love the fact that, like, the difference between old growth lumber that you find in an original Tudor, you watch the framer try to cut it with a skill saw and they're literally having to muscle through it. And then you look and watch them grab a new 2x4 that just came off the truck and it's like zip.
Yeah.
And so just in the very material that's used, it's so different. And so, you know, I mean, and I know our topic today is renovate versus rebuild.
Yeah.
You know, I think it really depends on the client. It depends on their attachment to the land, the neighborhood, the community that they're a part of, and then the house itself.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many factors that go into, and it pains me to see certain styles of houses in certain time periods get torn down.
So
It
what?
just does,
Yeah. So
because
what,
I know what's going up in its place.
right. Yeah.
And
Well, and I know, and sometimes, you know, I see these houses, you know, and it's like they're all so unique and have character, and there's just like big box that somebody puts in, you know, with the, you know, we work on
white
these homes,
painted
yeah,
brick,
white,
you know,
and
yeah.
then it has these flat roof designs, and it's very modern, extremely
Sure.
modern, and you know, some of those houses look pretty cool, but
Heck
some
yeah, they
some
do.
of some
Yeah.
just look completely out of place,
Right.
You know, and then maybe sometimes they're even really trying to imitate something else that is more thoughtful,
Right.
and this is kind of a, you know, more or less gross like reimagining of something that was beautiful and making it available to the masses,
Right.
and then things still fall apart.
I think, you know, I appreciate any and every style of architecture. I really do. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some I like more than others. I like to see, I personally like to see exposed brick versus painted brick. That's just
Yeah.
me, especially if the brick has a really neat texture or color to it. You know, I think it all just really, I mean, it just depends on the client's objective for, one thing we do see a lot these days is people that have been in their house for 10, 15 years. They absolutely love their neighborhood. They love their neighbors, their
Right.
you know, their children's schools close by, or they have their friend group that their kids' friends. And so that location becomes a lot more critical. And especially with some of these, you know, infill neighborhoods that are highly sought after, sometimes buying back in your same location is not, A, not possible, but B, possibly and not economically feasible if you've been in the house as long as you've been in the house.
Yeah.
So then it becomes, okay, what do we want to do? Because what we have either isn't working for us or our needs have changed. And so that's really, I think those are a lot of the questions that, and then you have to look at, you know, I mean, we do a lot of home transformations where we
Right.
come in, we gut the existing residents, we relocate. I mean, some we even raise the plate height, so we're raising the ceilings in some rooms, sometimes the whole house, and then add on, sometimes create second floor square footage that isn't there. Sometimes we're moving the stairs to a completely different location in the house. It just depends. So, you know, a lot of times when you're not having to tear the house down, when you're not having to, re-prep the site, do the benching or excavating the dirt work, haul it off, pay to haul it off. By the time like you keep what you have, there's a lot of value in just that. And so 9 times out of 10, if the existing structure is in good shape, the renovate is going to beat the rebuild, and they don't have to deal with trying to dollar cost in at a higher price point to get that same location.
So what are those things you look for in a property? Let's say you're going into a big remodel and it's an older house, you know, built, you know, before 1950s, you know. Do you deal with that a lot of the time? And what do you look for to know if it's sound to even do a remodel in the first place?
So we have a whole process, but obviously initially we're looking at, I mean, incoming service lines are important where they are. Most of the time, if they haven't been replaced, we're including replacement as part of, the scope of that work. Setbacks, easements, any restrictions with the lot, anything like that hasn't been fully addressed in the design or that we're looking at. Mainly just existing foundation is critical.
Right.
We do a lot of work in pier and beam homes, so and slab. It's just wanting to make sure that the existing foundation is in good shape. And usually if it is, and the clients have they can achieve the wants and needs out of a redesigned floor plan using as much of the existing foundation, possibly adding on, and sometimes we add on in one place, sometimes we're adding on in 2 or 3 places. Right. It just depends. But I think if they can get their objective out of the design that they have, then usually if all the existing conditions are in good shape, that will typically come in more price competitive than tearing everything down and starting from scratch.
Right. So when you go in to do these remodels, and let's say you have this beautiful brick facade and you want to keep that, but you still have to do some renovation. What's the process for, let's say, just preserving that brick? I mean, do you take it down and then put it back up?
Yeah. Our mason, our particular trade partner, is really good at salvaging brick. He'll basically stack cubes of salvaged brick. Now, what we want to try to figure out or determine on the front end is find the suitable match. If it's just minor brick counts, like, I don't know, call it 1 to 5 cubes, a lot of times a cube is 500 brick. A lot of times similar matches or exact matches could be found at salvage yards just because it's extra brick from a project, or when the brick count in the design calls for quite a bit of brick that needs to be matched, then it gets more challenging. And usually we can find it, and it's usually it fits in that allowance price point, but it's the freight, because a lot of times that brick's coming from Ohio, it's coming from New York, it's coming from places that when you get it on an 18-wheeler and drive it 2,000 miles, it costs thousands. And that's what usually skews. So typically for projects like that, we'll try to put a high cost per brick to the allowance just to cover us going out and sourcing it, and then really having to look at what the freight is going to be on getting it there. Yeah. Because that's usually what trumps the cost per brick.
Yeah. So you have the exterior, which you're preserving, and then you have the interior, which is like top of the state of the art, brand new. Right. So just kind of without giving me numbers, what ends up being more costly and what runs away from you on a budget? The exterior and getting that figured out, or the interior finish?
Honestly, it's usually interior finishes.
Yeah.
Because we can use allowances of what we see on typical projects, but a lot of times if there's if the clients have hired a designer, or or the architecture group is also handling the design, sometimes they will find materials that are expensive.
Right.
And so now the good news with those is those are very predictable. I mean, it's easy to come back and say, hey, for this particular slab, we figured X thousands of dollars. There are options that can keep this exactly where we want it to be budget-wise, or they may say, well, I really like the look of this. I'm comfortable with going over budget on this, or spending more than what's allowed. What we really like in our upfront process, and truthfully, we have to have it at some point in the costing process, and we prefer it on the front end. Foundation and frame design are critical.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty good at, we're pretty good at estimating those on the front end, but there's always a curveball that's going to be thrown. So the more of that upfront detail we can get, I mean, of course you have to have it for construction, but a lot of times if we're putting together opinions of values on early on when design's not finalized,
Right.
to then going into like a full hard bid costing type situation. But and there's also, you know, there's different ways to engineer a structure. I mean, there's tolerances that you know, there's performance versus IRC. You know, neither of them are unsafe. One just performs at a much higher level than the other, and so, but one also costs a lot more.
IRC.
Oh, it's the building code.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah. So I want to go back to 2010, right? You've been in construction for 10 years now,
Right.
and you're jumping out on a limb, and you're going to start your own thing. What prompted you to make that leap?
Inquiries. Hey, can you help me with this? I'd like to do this. Are you available to help with this? And I kind of just kept getting those. And at the time, when I was working for the builder I was working for, I'd say, hey, this person's asking me about this. Can you reach out to them? Can we take a look at that? Or I was kind of referring to the business I was working for.
Gotcha.
And so it kind of got to a point where it was like, you know what? I think I'm going to take a leap of faith and jump out on these. And so that was kind of the way it went.
Okay. And so how long, after taking some of those jobs, did you get to stop working for somebody else?
A few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, well, because bear in mind, 2010, we were right in the crux of, kind
Recovery.
of slowly starting to come out. I mean, for our firm, it was all renovation addition until about, I think our first ground up project was 2015. So, 3 to 4 years, but at that time we were doing some large scale renovations pretty quickly by into 2011, 2012, and then probably started to see some new construction drawings maybe in 2013 or early 2014, and then actually building by 2015.
Okay.
So at least for our firm.
Yeah.
So it just took some time. And the fact that a lot of the architect relationships that I had built or worked with at that point, they maybe were still mostly getting renovations or addition type work, and then they started to get some new construction work. It just took some time. But I would say, and what's interesting is like probably 2017, 2018, we started getting these large scale renovation drawings to look at costing. And then a few weeks or months later, the client would come back and say, hey, I found a house that checks all the boxes right around the corner. So we're going to scrap this and sell the house and buy this one. And it wasn't until about 2019 that clients were like, it doesn't make financial sense to go around the corner. We're going to keep what we have. And then by 2020 and COVID, it was just
locked. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, we're locked in and we're going to do whatever we need to do to this house
keep this.
And so anyway.
Yeah. So you saw an uptick in business, I guess, over the past 6 or 7 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've done a lot as a firm also, though, to scale our processes. We implemented construction technology. And so we've done a lot of heavy lifting on the backside to be able to do what we've done in the last few years. And so, and it's, there's, with anything like that, you have to, the firm got about to the point where it couldn't really grow much more in, call it, 2022, 2023 without major overhaul of processes and procedures.
Right. Oh my gosh.
You know, and we needed a software that could help us scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's kind of where we're at right now too. I mean, we've been working through that for the past couple of years. You know, systems and processes and even personnel, you know, making sure you have the right people.
Sure.
But,
right people, right seats.
Yeah.
We've been, it's been quite a journey. I would say the journey for us really started in 2022, 2023, because a lot of the lack of those processes really started glaring.
Yeah.
And then also realizing that we didn't have a sales process. You know, the sales process was in my head, and that's not a good place when you're,
Oh man.
you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's all the things that, you know, I would say there's been more reference to the business degree in the last,
Yeah.
you know, 3 to 5 years than the first, you know, 8 to 10.
It's crazy how that
Because
works out.
in the early, I was so fascinated. I was so focused on the building and learning and all of that I was that's such a detriment to other aspects of the firm, because otherwise you just kind of sit at a place where you can't grow and you can't, you know, you can't really do more that you know you were meant to do with it.
Yeah. So it seems like you did discover some sort of passion for building, right? But it also at the same time seems like it's something that kind of you fell into or chose you.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes me think of the question, you know, if you have this idea of something that you love, but you've never done it before and don't even know if you're good at it, should you pursue that, or should you just go get really good at something? And then you'll develop a love for it, because being good at something is fun. So what was that experience like for you with passion and skill and just the time it takes to develop competency in something?
Those are all, I mean, that's a great question. I think for me, nothing has ever come easy. Even I can remember like childhood sports. I mean, I just didn't, if I wanted to get good at something, I was going to have to put the time in and, you know, go through the pain and the suffering of learning how to get good at something.
Yes.
And I think, so for me, for whatever reason, solving construction related issues just makes sense for me. That's kind of like my, you know, that's it's a God-given talent that he's allowed me to refine over the years of being in this industry. That doesn't mean I'm some, you know, crazy expert. I just can start to see things that look like they might fail or aren't going to work, and now most of my time is spent in the pre-construction side.
Right.
But I can at least relay all these things to field operations, knowing that, hey, this is going to be something we've got to solve in the field. This is something we've kind of already kicked around as a solution to it. You know, we've spent a lot of time making sure that we have a plan in place for that. And so so in answer to your question, I think if you feel led to do something, but not really sure that you don't, maybe you're doubting that you have what it takes,
Right.
or that you don't have the knowledge, and I would say, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I didn't know the first thing about construction when I took that first job in 2000. It was, at the time, it was a job. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just, you know, I got bills to pay and this will help me with that. But then all of a sudden, like, I became fascinated with the tools and
Yeah.
the different fastening, you know, the nails, the screw, just all of it. And then, you know, I just all of a sudden, and then the sights and the smells and just everything that comes with it.
Yeah, and there's a potential for excellence.
And there
You
is,
know, and
your excellence can be seen on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think that's what's tough when you get into some of these, like we talked about earlier, these construction projects that don't promote excellence. That's
Right.
where we lose purpose, because it's all about just completion, getting the job done.
Right.
Good enough is good enough. When if you see there's a potential for excellence in something, that's motivating, that's hopeful,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a journey to refining those skills.
There really is.
Yeah.
And I think some of that, some of that can't be taught, in my opinion. Like for me, I mean, and it's a blessing and a curse, but, perfectionism, in our world, as much as you want everything to work out perfect and the measurements, why are the measurements off? And why is this,
Right.
why is this out of square? And how do you,
Yeah.
it's certain, you'll be driven mad by that, trust me. And I
Yeah.
wake up a lot in the middle of the night where it's like a solution to a problem, or, oh my gosh, did we get this, or did we do that? And I would say, if anything, sometimes I need better ways to shut my head down, but it's constantly focusing on a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
going to get there somehow. And we have a great team of people. I love bouncing with our current team right now. I mean, between 2 to 3 different people, like they're going to catch it. They're going to see the solution. I may get to be a part of bouncing off of, helping to be a part of that. But I have a real sense of trust in our team as far as being able to spot and solve potential issues.
Yeah, that's
So
a lot
that's
of
great.
That's a lot of what construction is, right? I mean, you have to be able to adjust in real time, can communicate to people, what these changes need to be, because it's not only going to change the flow and the schedule of your work, but it's going to affect the bottom line for whoever's footing the bill.
Sure.
And I mean, that's tough. Have you ever had instances where you had to go back to an architect or the homeowner and go, hey, it's going to be a lot more than what we thought it was going to be?
Yes. What we really try to do now is leverage the experience of doing this for years. So, it used to be, well, if the sewer line's good, or now it's, let's find out. If it's not, let's get it cut out and let's get a new one priced in on the front end. So now a lot of what we do is, especially on the whole home projects, everything's new. I mean, it's a rewire, it's a replumb,
Right.
it's all new HVAC. Like we're not gonna save. Now on projects where we're surgically working in certain areas, that's where we want to really dive in on the front end and make sure we know what's in the house currently.
Yeah.
Or do we have, is it in that age point where we've got insulated wiring that we're going to run into that we can't, once we expose it, we need to replace it, or the cloth insulated wiring. But it's just trying to get an idea of the level of risk in the adjacent areas, so we make sure and price accordingly, so that we're keeping those impacts to a minimum.
Right. So you have to do some forecasting. You kind of have to think. You have to think forward on what all could go wrong,
And-
what's likely to go wrong.
Yeah.
And so, do you have to kind of put a cushion in there, for those instances, or do you kind of just go, hey, this is what we think it is. If it's not, then it's going to cost this much more.
Sure. Well, we operate as a cost-plus contractor,
Okay.
but some clients want a contingency factor. Some clients know what their contingency factor is. We certainly have cost codes where we can enter it in. But most of the time, we are going to estimate or work with the trade partners on the front end to make sure that we have a contingency factor in most cost codes. The good news is if we, because we operate transparently, if if we overestimate a lot of cost codes. We
Right.
do underestimate some cost codes, but a lot of times by the time the scheduled values work out at the end, the over budget ones have helped with the under budgeted ones. And sometimes it's not rocket science, but I feel like with our experience and how long we've been doing it, and now with our pre-construction process, we're going in and we're actually like drawing out how we want drywall quoted. So like, let's say our renovations are here, here, and here. We're going to go in and make sure that our drywall trade partner is quoting all these different areas of drywall that we know we're going to have to open up, get into for the rewiring associated with it. I mean, we're trying to forecast a lot of that on the front end.
And so it's just attention to detail.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, I'm sure that's just a painstaking process of really breaking every single thing down. But now that you have the people for it, I'm sure
And we're starting to get, some really good processes with how we do full costings. We're starting to send out SOPs for every single cost code on what the expectation is to be included in the bid. Our bids or our RFP process is all digital now. So where it used to be back in the day, I'd make this long list on a legal pad of every trade partner that needed a set of drawings. Now it's all organized by cost code, and the bids are received back by cost code. They're all organized digitally. And I mean, like, the things that used to take us days take us minutes now with the technology.
Yeah, and these are things that you don't see on HGTV.
No. So you just see, man, we can redo your kitchen in 9 business days, and it's going to look like this. And it's like, well, dude, those people were living there 24 hours a day, stacked on top of each other. They weren't filming but an hour a day. Yeah. And that's how you got the kitchen in 9 days or whatever.
Yeah, so and there's this big influx of these reality TV shows. They've been happening for over a decade. Right. I love them. They're so much fun.
Oh, they're fun to watch.
Because you see this dilapidated home, and it's falling apart, and then you get to watch this process over the course of an hour to fix it up. And so what do you think people that see those shows and they go, man, that looks like so much fun, like I want to do that, because it's exciting. What would you say to them as, hey, look out for this thing? Because I'm going to encourage you to go, do whatever looks fun to you. But what's the pitfall of someone that gets into home renovation?
I mean, it's so glamorized on TV. It's kind of like, I'm just going to put my head down and focus on being a professional and trying to refine our processes and get better and better at what we do, and enjoy watching those shows for what they are. But I would say the benefit of them is they help to create an informed consumer. Our clients, if let's just say they're a big DIY home enthusiast or whatever, they probably are, have real good terminology with the process, the workflow, what they, probably, I would say, if anything, it's helped to inform the client.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I wish they made shows about roofing so they'd be informed about what we do.
Man, I will say water, you can't outsmart water. I mean, you can, but it will always find its way in.
Yeah.
And so you got to get one step ahead of it.
I have a small interjection on this one.
Sure.
Because the difference between I think it's really more like the difference between renovation and new construction. Because you have new construction is complicated, but the restoration side is complex. Because you're literally fighting the existing structure.
You're fighting existing conditions.
And the only advantage you can have is experience.
Yeah.
Because you have to have had many mistakes or successes to look back and go, oh, this type of house or what I see here looks like X, Y, Z. I wouldn't have known it otherwise. And it's really the differences between complex problems and systems that require, taking a test or taking a sample or try something, and then you look back, hindsight, it's really clear. Or a complicated system, which is knowable, like, something that the customer might want to do, you can do it. It just more complicated.
Right.
Like the trades on top of it. That's a complicated issue, a scheduling issue. It's just tedious and time consuming. That stuff is still knowable though. You want experts doing it. You don't want to do that yourself with your own kitchen. But for the complex stuff, where you can only see it on the back, that's where the experience comes in. So I think maybe bringing it around to like the experience side would be a good focus maybe on that conversation.
Yeah, so Chase was
Experience versus,
tuning in.
Experience versus expertise. So you can have the expertise for something, but you can also have
Sure.
the experience.
I'll see if I can I comprehend what you're saying
That's
enough
the only two
to
things. That's
yeah.
it.
Well,
Experts
yeah.
versus experience.
So talking about new build, Chase tuned in here to help us get to a topic he wanted us to get to. No, thank you, Chase. We appreciate it. Chase isn't on camera most of the time, but he's our producer and my brother, and I love him very much. He's a great guy. And so we're talking about the difference between brand new construction and renovation. And one is the renovation aspect of things is complex. You have a lot of working parts and you're dealing with an existing structure, right? And then you have a new build that is complicated. There's parts that work together, but you're building it from the ground up.
Right.
You're not having to deal with something else. And so on the renovation, the word you used was complex, but the skill set is you need experience. Yeah, you need
Did you
experience.
say experience versus expertise?
Yeah.
Experience versus expertise.
Yeah. So
expertise deals with complications. Experience deals with complexity.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Experience. You want to come over here?
No,
This is good. So where my mind initially goes to is on new construction, right? You're focusing more on the elements of the design that maybe need to be refined, or maybe they're not working out perfectly as drawn. The only inconsistencies you have in the structure, you've essentially been a part of creating, meaning, I don't know, let's say the slab was slightly out of level or out of plumb. As you're framing it, it's there, you make adjustments. You're not having to, I would say, I remember initially in renovation addition to pier and beam existing, just over the years of adding on pier and beam additions with slab additions to pier and beam, you're just having to think through so many different things that all have to work out. Finished floor height, everything. And then you talk about, out of plumb, out of level conditions. And, we've worked in houses before that have been inches out of level at less than 10 feet. Sometimes to make everything work, it can be, you're really having to thread a needle, right? Because you can't go in there and make everything perfect. Mm-hmm. You just have to do the best you can in the areas that you're working in, because, the client's not going to want to tear out half the house to get it all perfectly level when that's not in the scope of work, and we're only working over here. So it's, I definitely, experience is helpful. In the early days, I would always be kind of on pins and needles as we started tearing into existing structures. Now it's just when they show up, when we get the issues, things that aren't working, let's work through them, because we know we're going to find them.
Right.
And we've put a level of contingency into the budget for them. And so now it's just about working through and finding the best solution as we encounter them. Yeah. It's not about, I hope it doesn't happen, or it's not there. It's going to be there, and it's going to happen. And it's just making sure that we bring the experience on how to address it. Yeah. And our vendors, our trade partners have gotten really, because some of them are 15 years old to our firm. And so they're just used to certain things. And so a lot of times, we can say, hey, we've seen this many times before. What are we doing here? Is this the best way to approach it? So that helps too.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it, because you're building this for somebody, who's going to live in this home for a long time. Right. Right. So being the guide and you being calm and not losing your head when things go wrong creates a better experience for the customer. And that's probably a lot of the battle. having people at the end of the day, when they use you, they go, man, I had a great experience with Billy, because I felt like he was a confident leader and he knew where he was going. I'm sure if things, that's not things can happen to where that might not be the last taste in their mouth. But
right.
But I mean, there's so much to be said just about how you run your business on a relational level. And if you're comfortable and if you are calm, then the customer is going to have faith that you can complete the project.
I think business in general is built on relationships. I mean, I think it's kind of like, there's certain names and faces that I want to know are on our projects because you trust those relationships. It's kind of like you've been in battle with them before. Right. How they're, when something goes wrong, which it always will, like, is everyone going to have a level head, or is it going to be a bunch of pointing fingers, or all that kind of stuff? And
right.
So when you find good trade partners and people, you want to keep them close. And I think business is all about relationship. I mean,
I agree.
And same with our clients, and just doing the best, just getting up every day and suiting up and doing the best you can.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And
knowing that it's not going to be, that there's going to be, there's going to be wins, there's going to be losses, there's going to be all throughout the course of every day, and problems, and solving problems, and looking for solutions for problems.
And facing that adversity is huge. And kind of back to what we talked about with doing something and deciding to do something you love or something you're passionate about that looks fun. You said, hey, go for it. I think the next step is to not stop. Don't quit. Because we have these, we see something that looks fun to us and we go, man, I'm going to do that. And then you don't know what you don't know. And then you start to figure out what you don't know, and it becomes really hard. And there's this kind of pit of despair where you see the mountain in front of you and you're like, I've got to learn all that to get to excellence or to get where I want to be. And you're like, you know what, I might just do this other shiny thing over here that looks fun. And then you find yourself in that same pit, 6 months, a year later.
I think if God puts something on your heart, and you know that's your passion is there, that that this is the direction you need to be going, then failure is not an option, and He's
Right.
going to guide you, He's going to protect you, He's going to lay out the path, and then it just becomes about discipling, spreading the word, just waking up each and every day knowing that it's just going to do it with excellence and be a servant, and and just be good to people, be good to others, and conduct yourself with as much excellence as you can on a daily basis.
I mean, there's a term, servant leadership. And what does that mean to you?
It means leading by example, but also leading with humility, and realizing that you're just you're just another person on the bus, and we're all driving in the same direction, and let's just do it to the best of our ability. And it's a joke with our team, but the first thing I do when I go to job sites is I start cleaning them up.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because I already know, my mind I already know where the construction related, where we are in the project, and where the things are that we're working on. The first thing I go do is I start cleaning up.
Yeah.
Just because that's the way I was trained. That's just what you do. You keep a clean job site. So it's funny, we have one team member that will always, they'll have a contractor bag ready when I show up and just hand it to me, because they know I'm going to go and start filling it up.
That's
and
awesome.
So even if the job site's clean, I'm still going to go find something. I might have a handful of nails in one hand and my iPad in another one, and it's like, because I've just been seeing them and picking them up.
Yeah.
Or I see a a piece of framing material with nails stuck up and they haven't had a chance to clean it or drive the nails down. I'll do it with the heel of my shoe. You know, I'm just, those are the things, the little things that I think of like excellence wise that, you know, just go back to the way I was taught.
Yeah, and I think people follow people. I mean, there's a whole scale, and I can't remember the whole thing, but essentially the bottom level of obedience is fear, and then the top level is love, right? And so it's like, you know, if you start doing things that promote, and I think right below love is actually respect, which I thought was interesting, you know, because that's not the greatest, you know, that's not the, unless you, like that's not respect is great, but love is better, you know. And so, you know, if you're in a community where you all truly love each other, you know, then what is that, you know, how does that change, you know, a community and an organization? Like it is so transformative, and you do things because you genuinely care about this person, you know. And so, you know, it seems like doing things like that, you know, that's an act of love for you to go, hey, you know, I know these guys are hot, they're sweaty, you know, they've been working all day. I'm going to, you know, take care of them and you know, lead by example, you know, and pick up these nails. And you don't have to do that, you know.
No, but cool. I just don't know any other way, truthfully. Been doing it for so long. Yeah,
no, that's great. So I kind of skipped over a really big thing I want to talk about. You've won some awards. Which is amazing, and I think one of the big ones was for the Disney Streets transformation. Was that?
Yeah, so I would say so. Yes, that was a whole home renovation that was given out that was a McSAM Award by the Dallas Builders Association. Very proud of that project. We also, the two I'm probably the most proud of was in the same year of that one, and then also now this year. We've won Remodeler of the Year for 2 years in a row. And I think that it's a testimony to our team and all the hard work and dedication and just that, you know, we've worked really hard to embrace technology, to embrace, you know, just continuing to refine the business process, which makes it all the more, I mean, our goal is to create the most, the best possible experience for our client. And renovation has never had that, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, you know, I hear sometimes from people like, I never know where my budget is, or I never know what's going on with the project. And so, you know, we just continue to try to make that road get narrower in the experience. We're not perfect by any means, but we do have a team of people that are dedicated to trying to get better. And we have a lot more tools today than we had, you know, in 2010 that we have at our disposal. AI included. You know, now, you know, that...
that's so true.
So that's one of the big things, especially in the renovation edition world, that is kind of one of my goals for this coming year, is being able to utilize all of our historical data on all of our projects to really refine how we illustrate opinions of project costs in a very short period of time for our clients so they can make informed decisions, whether it's to purchase a property that they're looking at, that, you know, what are those construction costs going to run, whether it's new construction costs, whatever. But I think our data is so valuable to us for that very reason, like the experience that, you know, Chase was talking about of we've been doing this for so long, being able to leverage that data and be able to help clients make quick decisions based on our data that's solely focused on renovation addition will be really helpful. I think that will help the firm tremendously. Yeah,
that's so cool. So I'm curious, you know, on actual specific features of a project you've done, like what's been one of your favorite either things you've gotten to restore, like on one single feature on a property, or something, maybe it's an interior where it wasn't restored, but you did this really cool interior kitchen or feature or whatever. Like, do you have anything that stands out to you as this thing was just aesthetically sweet?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, to go back to that Disney Streets transformation project, so there's originally there was a redesign to the project. Long story short, it took the existing garage and converted it to a pier and beam and made it a bedroom, bathroom, and then the new garage was poured as an addition. Okay. So two things: A, converting an existing slab garage to pier and beam, and then also the house, it's situated as a horseshoe, taking the front half of the horseshoe and raising the plate height on it. Okay. There was just so much going on with this project, and it was so much fun, and it was just successful all around, and it did, and the industry noticed it with the Whole Home Remodel Award. But just architecturally, it was so cool.
Yeah. So what's the process for lifting that plate height?
Well, you got to take the existing roof off.
Yeah. Right.
And then you've got to, in that particular, it was all of the transom and sliders and or swing doors below it went to square tube steel framing members and columns, and then we went with a custom truss for the roof framing. It was really cool. Yeah. So I mean, and we do lots of really neat stuff like that, and so it's neat to have, the different team members that come together to make all that happen, from the lumber yard to the engineer to the framer to just everybody that plays a part in how to modify the structure, the foundation, trade partners, and saw cutting out that slab, excavating it, figuring out the best way to run the floor system, how to ventilate the crawl space, just all of it, So that's where experience definitely comes in handy. Well, I always say it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
Because why wouldn't I just go drop a brand new lumber pack on a clean, fresh foundation and just make it easy?
Well, I think it's so cool. I've always loved seeing homes that are just restored, and I'm not sure if you've done any work. I mean, I've seen your portfolio, but I've done the home tours. I've gone to home tours, and a lot of those are restored homes, and man, it's just it really is something else to preserve that part of history in an era where it feels like we're so quick to destroy it. So I think it's really cool what you do.
Well, and those are two of my favorite events to go to. I love the White Rock Home Tour. We've been big supporters of that for years. Also, the AIA Home Tour is great. Okay. I love to go on these. I love to look at other people's work. I love mid-century construction. I love to look at mid-century construction. That was they were pushing the envelope anything and everything architecture related and building related, as far as I just am fascinated with.
What a cool time to be alive when interest rates are so good that people just want to fix what they've got.
Well, I mean, we're not in the mid to high 2 range that we were in 2021.
Well, when they bought these homes, and so they have those rates locked in. Now they don't want to sell them.
Yes, 100%.
So I think that helps this. And then we have some good conservation districts around that are helping preserve these old homes, which can be a headache. But I mean.
But once they're gone, they're gone.
They're gone. You can't get them back.
And you look at Europe, I just recently got to take a trip abroad, and just everything. I mean, it's just here, like you were kind of earlier, and it's just tear it down, redo it. But over there, where space is so constrained and things were built so differently, it's like they're constantly renovating or updating
Yeah.
what's already there versus just tearing it down. And I don't know, it's just different.
Yeah,
you
it is
know?
different. Well, and it kind of goes back to what we talked on, I think off camera before this, was the lack of regulation
Yeah.
and barrier to entry in Texas. I mean, you said you had to go to you're working in New Mexico, you have your license there, and it was this long process. Then here in Texas, and it doesn't exist.
It's the Wild West.
And so you couple that with, this whole, tear down culture.
Right.
It's like, why wouldn't you? We don't have the access to the labor to do these really beautiful things, and there's no competition in it. And so,
I mean,
yeah.
after going through the contractor license process in the state of New Mexico, I would be a big advocate for that here, or some aspect of it. Maybe not quite as much, but definitely. I just the more you can educate and kind of create some minimum requirements, the better. That way, and who's working and building. And I mean, here there's just so little as far as licensing and regulation.
And what do you think is stopping that? I mean, because the same thing in roofing, there's no regulation.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it might drive up prices a little bit, but it's better for the homeowner. It's better for the consumer because they're going to have something built by somebody who knows what they're doing.
Right.
And it's going to have a lot more longevity. What's in the way? If you
It's
know.
a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's when I first started, moved back to Dallas and was building here, they had what was called the TRCC. It was the Texas Commission of Residential. I can't. Anyway, you had to get a TRCC number,
Okay.
and that got submitted in with your new construction permit. Now, I mean, we carry a home repair license, which is great with the city of Dallas. They have your driver's license, some of your critical information on file, so they know ultimately who the responsible party is. Same with the city of Dallas registration.
Yeah.
I'm just, I mean, anything like that helps. It's just, I don't necessarily know if the yearly renewal fee that you pay necessarily creates a lot of revenue, but if it does, great. If it doesn't, at least they know they have a driver's license for the responsible party, which is at least
some sort of
it's
accountability.
something.
Yeah, right.
And most a lot of the other municipalities, suburbs have varying forms of that. I think anything you can do, but to have something at the state level would also probably,
that would help.
I
mean,
with some form of education or hours or even continuing education hours, I think that would help.
Yeah. I told you a story about a project that I bid years ago. The homeowner went with a less expensive bid and then called me in the middle of the project to come help her roofer figure out this complication on the roof. And I did it and didn't charge her anything. I just said, hey, maybe next time, don't save the $2,000 and just use this to begin. But things like that. He told me, he was like, I was doing siding a couple of years ago, and then things started to slow down, so I got into roofing. And there's nothing stopping them from just hopping over. So
I mean, the amount of textbooks that I had to purchase and highlight and dog ear and everything for that license exam was awesome. I mean, I don't even know. I could probably go into a room of 10 local builders and say, have any of y'all actually looked up things in the code book? Do you own a code book? That exam was awesome. And I loved the exam prep company that I did it with out of Albuquerque. They were just incredibly, it was a neat experience. And it's because I didn't learn this industry from a textbook.
Right.
It was all hands-on for me. So to actually get the textbooks and be looking through all that is great. But it's also where could you go get that knowledge if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
If
you
one
have
were
to-
so inclined.
Yeah, you have to just want to do it yourself. Go to
Yeah.
YouTube University or whatever.
There you
I don't know. Yeah, well, so I wanna go back to kind of something we were talking about earlier. You mentioned, your faith.
Mhm.
So, were you raised? Was that something you grew up with? Is that something you found later in life?
Grew up with, but didn't fully submit and get saved until I was in my 30s.
Okay.
And now I just, our pastor talks a lot about, being a disciple in the marketplace. And sometimes that's just like you talked about, just, from something as simple as the trash picking up, just trying to lead in a servant capacity. And if you have the opportunity to talk openly about those things, awesome. But you can also just, hold yourself at a higher, and we're not, we're the broken and the lost, and we need help, and we need God. And so, anything we can do to, put that message out on a daily basis is awesome.
We never know what someone else is going through, and people are ready at different times to come to that table. And, if they just know that you're a lifeline, then they end up coming to you. We don't have to go out there, in the, like a university in the quad, and someone has a Bible and is screaming condemnation.
Right.
It's like, hey, someone just knows. They just know. Yeah, Billy, he believes in Jesus, and he's a Jesus follower. And then whenever they get to the point in their life, they've got that road, to discovery and to learn more. And one of the guys here, he talks about, Randy has been one of my mentors, and he says, Reese, God's doing something. He's doing something everywhere, right?
Always.
All he's asking you, the question he's asking you is, you going to go against it, or are you going to go with me? That's it. It's like and maybe the start for some people is just don't go against it. Just don't go against it. Just if you lead with love, and then you're probably doing exactly what God's asking you to do. And if you're full of the Spirit and you follow the Spirit, then just listen to that voice. And I think the more we spend time in the Word, more time we spend with Jesus, that voice starts to get louder. And not to go on a rant here, but I think I was telling my brother the other day that my struggle is the spiritual warfare that we're in is so real. I mean, this these words and these phrases that come into my mind that tell me who my identity is, that is so wrong. And the more certain TV shows that I watch, certain music I listen to, certain people I hang out with, have a huge impact on what voices are going to come through strongly. And then I listened to one podcast yesterday with Jamie Winship, and he's speaking truth. And all of a sudden, all the lies that I've been told over the past couple weeks, because I hadn't been reading my Bible every morning, they start to get broken down. And it was a good reminder that I've got to put in my mind all these truths, and they'll shine light on the darkness, that all the lies that are being told me by the enemy. And so, that's my soapbox. But it's so true. We have to protect what we put into our mind.
I mean, I can't imagine not starting my day the way that I do. I read a devotional. The particular one I use is a book called God Calling. I journal, and then I read. I use a 1-year Bible, and it's not the New King James. It's the Living.
NLT.
NLT. Yes. New
Living Translation.
And then I have some different pastors that I like to listen to. I really like. I'm a big Stephen Furtick fan. Elevation Church.
Oh, he's good.
I love listening to his messages, and anybody that he has guest pastors on. And then when I'm in my car, praise and worship music. You got it. And like you said, I mean, if the enemy is it's like a roaring lion, you know, and it's out there. And if you're not constantly trying to continue to just put God's word and make sure that it's constantly, you'll lose your identity quick.
Yeah, you really can. It's scary how fast it can happen.
Yeah.
You know, we go to church every Sunday, right? And we think that's enough.
No.
It's like
No.
I'm like, you know, God gave us these 7 days. You think, well, that's pretty often, and I think it's often enough to get reminded. But I swear, I mean, 48 hours goes by, and if you're not staying on the Word, the world is so enticing, and it's so demanding, especially now, and how instant it grabs our attention for something else.
Yeah.
We have to be more.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like just the whole just the distraction.
Yeah.
The distraction, it's trying to quiet down that distraction enough to tap into the Spirit, and because the Spirit's always there. We're the ones that are distracted.
Yeah.
And if all that stuff is just passing you by, you're missing everything God's trying to tell you.
Yeah. And it's even the good things. The good things we have in life become idols so quickly, and I think we forget that. It's like, well, I'm not into sex, drugs, and rock and roll, so I'm good, baby, let's go. And it's like, well, what other things in our lives have become a priority that shouldn't,
Exactly.
I've had this job, and growing and skilling with, my dad in this business. I've had that become, an idol sometimes when I go, you know what? I'm up early. I'm up. I can do my Bible study, or I can get to the office at 7:30 and beat everybity there. Right. And I'm like, let's go to the office. And it's like, man, I'm missing it, and I'm missing it, and it feels like something so trivial to go, well, I'll get back on it tomorrow, Right. But then the enemy creeps in, and I think we all have these great callings, and we get robbed of it. And I know I've not been the best and been diligent, but God's never given up.
No, and He won't stop now. And He's, I think Jesus is so full of grace and mercy, and that that He's always right there for us when we turn back to Him and say, man, that grace.
Yeah. Well, and another thing, and I feel like the Spirit kind of wanted me to share this, because I was raised and this wasn't by any fault of any of the elders or my parents or whatever, but the God that I grew up with was the guilt God. The God that loved you but didn't like you very much. And I want anyone out there to know how much God really loves you. And it's not that God has this wrath that Jesus came and He stopped. God created all of us so intentionally. And when we say, and this says in the Bible, we're created in the image of God, we are like mirrors that were designed by nature to reflect the goodness of God. Like, that's what we are. We are these, God put all His characteristics of love and grace and, mercy and servanthood and all these things into us. Like, we fell, but that's not our initial design, And so, I don't know, I just feel like, where I was for a long time is thinking that God, loves me because He's got to, but doesn't like me, and that's just so wrong. Like God truly loves all of us, and Jesus wasn't an afterthought. He was a plan from the beginning. From the beginning. And so, He knew it was going to happen. So, anybody out there that thinks that God doesn't love you or is mad at you or is angry with you, He's there along Jesus, and He is so happy that you're here, and He wants to know you more.
It's awesome.
So that's my gospel message for the day.
I would say if that's the one thing that gets relayed today, that's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, hey, so I'll let you kind of close us out here a little bit. What's next for RJA? What are there more plans? What's on the horizon?
I think continuing to embrace technology, continuing to refine the process, continuing to elevate as a team, as a firm, continuing to elevate in the building that we do, the projects that we do, just the neighborhoods that we can reach. You know, I mean, the Metroplex it's expanding so much. You know, there's certain neighborhoods that we're in now that we weren't in even a few years ago that we're in now, and so just continuing to serve where we can, and bring more awareness to the industry, as far as just things that work for us. And we're part of our construction technology company that we use. They've created a community of builders, and I love that. And
that's awesome.
It's such a great resource to be able to, you know, network or connect with other builders that maybe are where you were, you know, last year, or they want to be where you're at, or they're struggling with this, or how did you get, you know, how did you handle this? Or I mean, I think, as you know, as we're all getting more and more connected, I think it's nothing is more refreshing than getting with another builder and trading war stories, or what's working, what's not. You know? So I love that about this company that we've partnered with, because they're embracing that. And so I'm really, hopefully I can be more a part of that community.
I love it. Well, Billy, you know, thank you so much.
Of course,
for coming
man, I
on
really
the show.
enjoyed this.
Yeah, no, I love this conversation. For all you watching out there, thanks for tuning in. This is Building Dallas, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Building Dallas, where we bring the stories that shaped North Texas. Subscribe, share, and stay connected. Until next time, keep building. Building Dallas is presented by Arrington Roofing, keeping North Texas covered, rain or shine.